Reviewing LEGO's Galactic Spaceship. This is a new set for 2025. I was pretty excited to see this. Having a spaceship that's got a full interior was really exciting to me as a kid, but most LEGO spaceships, probably all of them, way back in the 80s when I was a kid, had a cockpit and then there was an interior where the little figures would have to do a spacewalk to get to the other side. And spaceships with a full interior, that's still pretty exciting to me. Here's the other side of that box. Comes with 3 instructions manuals, so you can build this with a couple kids or with a couple friends. And just following the instructions, we end up with these 3 little components. So we've got this cool looking spaceship. We're going to go into details in a minute. This is a little laboratory component, then this sort of main cabin sort of living space. And then later on, there's a way to join them up into one big spaceship. Let's have a look at the spaceship first. So it's got a cockpit and it opens up. And we've got this little figure in there along with his alien friend. The alien's pretty tiny and he's got a tiny seat corresponding. I really love these little transparent pieces. In reality, I don't think they'd be very practical as a control panel, but they look really cool. In the aft compartment, we've got this little portion where we can fit a fingernail in there to pull up the top. And there's a nice interior where I suppose a person could sit down and use this communications panel. And that's about all there is to the interior. Unfortunately, there's a little glass sort of thing between the cockpit and this main sort of cabin area. So it's not actually continuous, although I suppose it'd be pretty easy to modify this so it can be continuous. Also, here's the big engine in back. The wings are adjustable. Well, the tips are adjustable. Also, the wings can come off. More about that in a minute. So I called this a lab module before, but I think it's actually for asteroid mining. It's a little control center, ops center for controlling your little asteroid mining tools. Check that out, little sticker. And here's some tools on the wall. I don't know what this thing does, but it sort of looks cool, I guess. This guy in there, he's got a spacesuit, a helmet anyway, so he can be helmeted and do spacewalks. These entrances are closed off, but like this little design looks like it could be little doors or hatches. So I'm just going to go with that. There are also storage compartments on the side. They hold little crystals. And these whole compartments can be detached. And more about that later. Then we get to the habitat module. And in this mode, it's got these cool looking feet sort of thing. They've got a lot of nice technical sort of looking details. And it's supposed to stick to an asteroid, I suppose, for mining. These parts are closed off. Everything's closed off, but we can access the interior. You can pull out that little dome. We've got a plant over here. This is something that's folded up, but we fold it down and we see that it's for food. And here's a little control panel. On this side, it's just space. Not sure what that is. Maybe it's equipment. On this side, we have the medical bay, and there's the little control panel, and we fold this down, and a minifigure could lay down here. In the center is, once again, one of these cool looking screens. Not practical in real life, but they look cool, so let's go with it. Here's one of the battery packs that seems to be pretty common in LEGO these days, and here's more crystals. Maybe the crystals are used to make really futuristic batteries, who knows. I also like how this battery pack is connected by a little electrical conduit there. That's just a fun little detail. Here's another minifigure. She has a EVA pack, extravehicular activity pack, and so I leave her with her helmet on. This figure, she's supposed to be for that habitat module, and I left her helmet off because I figure she's not going to be working in a habitat module with her helmet on. That'd be silly. And here's a little mining sort of probe robot, remote control kind of guy. He's got a battery in back, a couple of drills, a light in front. It comes with a couple asteroids. To assemble the whole spaceship, we first pull the wings off. They're held in place by little clips. We pull the engine pod off. It's held in place by Technic pins. We take this portion and we pretty much just leave it alone, but we have some Technic pins that we're going to add to these portions. And in this part, we're going to pull these things that look sort of like airlocks. Oh, there we go. It's pulling the wrong thing. Pull off these hatch covers. So now we can get inside there. We put those Technic pins into these slots. And then this portion is joined onto what was the spacecraft and is now just a part of the spacecraft. And then we do the same thing with the habitat module. There isn't really a front or a back, so you can just stick it on whatever way you want. On the aft end of the spaceship, we add the engine pod, engine module, whatever it's called. Then we stick these wings here and over here. And then these pads can be folded up or whatever, do whatever you want with them. And then we've got our whole spaceship. Let's zoom out a little. To reinforce the structure, because it can fall apart pretty easily, we add these little bits to the dorsal side. And then these bricks go on the underside, on the ventral side. There we have it. The whole spaceship. It's more or less pretty continuous. So we've got this aft cabin, living space. This is the control module for controlling your little probes and things, or you can set it up as a lab if you wanted to. And it's pretend continuous with this module and this module. Remember, it has those little door kind of dealies. And then the cockpit is not actually accessible from this part, but we can modify that pretty quickly. So it's mostly continuous. It was a fun build, fairly quick. It's got 717 pieces, and I think it's pretty cool.